San Joaquin Valley Town Hall is going to be so excited to see you on November 16th here at the Saroyan Theatre.
I'm really looking forward to it. You know, I have an aunt who lives about 45 minutes from the town hall. So I'm really looking, she's in her 80s now. I'm really looking forward to seeing her.
What would you like people to know about you in your own words? Just talk about yourself a little bit.
Um, what would I like people to know about me?
Yeah.
That I'm a hard worker. And I don't do a lot of these kind of events where I go and speak and talk about my life and talk about the creative process, which actually I really enjoy talking about songwriting and about the process and about my career. I think I would like people to know that I'm just as curious and impassioned as I was at 18 about what I do. And I feel really grateful that I feel that way. Um, I've had a really interesting life. It's not over, but I think women my age that we have a lot to say and less time to say it. So I like the idea of living my life out loud at this point. So I'm going to talk to the audience about like I said, 40 plus years of doing this, of being a songwriter, of recording, of being on the road, and a writer, and where I am now, and try to connect with people, find out what they want to know.
That is fantastic. And one of the questions I did have is what has kept you inspired for all these years? What is it in your heart that makes you as excited today as you were when you were 18?
I think that's a gift. I really do. I'm just as curious and just as inspired. I mean, it's the love of music, for one thing, and the love of language and the love of rhythm and words. And I mean, I'm interested in so many things, and one thing feeds another. I'm interested in quantum physics. I'm interested in, the new space telescope. I'm interested in sewing. I have a sewing circle with 6 other. I just like being in life, and I'm 5 kids, so I think it's a parent's number one job to be an optimist.
Yeah, you definitely do that. But you're also known as a soul-searching songwriter. What would you say is the song of yours that most represents your own soul?
Oh, you would have to ask me, like today it would be one thing, and then in a week from now it would be
Mhm.
another, because that's really changeable. I mean, I think in general, my DNA is melancholy. And that probably goes back to my Celtic ancestors, those melancholy Celtic ballads of loss and war and travel and, longing. Longing is a big part of my songwriting.
Well, most of the people that will be seeing you in Fresno will have seen you in Ken Burns' country music. What was it like working with that crew, one of the best documentarians ever known here?
I mean, first, I think he did a great service to Americans by making that documentary, because it wasn't just about the music, it was about our cultural legacy. It was about being Americans. Like, this is so us that no place else in the world has this music and this kind of catalog of American beauty and rhythm. It was great working with them. They were very respectful. They didn't act like they knew more than they did in the beginning, which I thought was really smart. He didn't come in with an agenda saying, I'm going to make this. He came in saying, to me, who should we talk to? Who should we interview? Who are the legacy artists who won't be around much longer that we should talk to? And I thought, from that moment, when they first asked that question, the first time I met them, I was sold. I said, this guy is going to make the right kind of film. And it was deeply moving to me. A lot of that history I knew, most of it, but there were things I found out as well that, that was fascinating.
Well, and I think that your music has been doing that as well, and everyone enjoyed your participation in country music. How would you say that your music has inspired society in general?
Oh gosh, that's dangerous for me to think about that.
I know, it's true.
Um, if I have inspired anyone, and I can't make that assumption because it just sounds very grand and, a little egocentric. But if I have inspired someone, I hope it's to feel a connection, feel their own humanity, to reflect on their own lives, to feel their own feelings, something hidden in themselves that they wanted to know. The purpose of music is to get us in touch with that, with our feelings and our humanity. And if I've done that, I am always intent on connecting with an audience in that way, to create a sense of community in an evening with a live audience. And if that happens, if that chemical reaction happens and people are moved, then I've done my job.
How do you think your music is distinguishable from the rest of your family? You have a big musician family. And do you ever get
Yeah.
together and just play, jam a little bit?
Well, I did with my dad. Like I would play him songs, he would play me songs. And I wouldn't use the word jam. I would say it was more about um, communication and trading and teaching. He would teach me songs and I would sing something back to him that he loved. My son-in-law is a producer, Grammy-winning producer and musician, Dan Nobler. My son is a really fantastic musician and he's producing now. He's 23 years old. And then my husband I work with all the time. So yeah, there's always music. There's always a song for what's going on in your life.
That's wonderful. So, what would you say is the best advice your parents ever gave you?
Well, um, to follow my authentic feeling of who I was and what I wanted to be in this world. And my dad's work ethic, he had a really beautiful work ethic. He respected his audience. He showed up. He wasn't late. He was very professional, and I inherited that work ethic. And yet he always said, "Take care of your babies first." And I've always managed to do that. I hope and I think, and you'd have to ask my kids, but I think I did.
Very
And
wise words.
from my mother, I think I got a sense of discipline, and how to make a comfortable home.
That's wonderful. Now, when you want to get away from it all, where do you do? Where do you go? What do you do?
I love being in my own home, in my own kitchen, in my living room, like cleaning and organizing. After years on the road, on and off on the road, being at home I'm just grateful for it. It's a pleasure and a gift. But where do I go? I go out with my girlfriends, lunch,
Things.
you
Yeah.
know, museums, see art. Um, I go to the theater. Um, like I said, I'm curious. I have this sewing circle I mentioned. And I come down to this recording studio of my husband's and like start pulling guitars off the wall.
That's so much fun. Is there anything else you would just like to say to the folks here in the San Joaquin Valley before we see you in a few weeks?
Well, I want to say that I'm not coming to teach, I'm coming to commune, to talk about my life, to find out what people want to know, and to try to create a sense of community in that little bit of time.